All right, well, if we're ready to get started, then I will do so. Hi, everybody. My name is Pete Benson. I'm the Director of Education at Bainbridge Performing Arts, and I'm also hopefully directing Macbeth this summer. We're waiting on final word. Currently, we're still on schedule. I will have 2 camera views tonight. You can look at my beautiful face here, or I will be taking my phone with me so that you can look inside of things and see how they're being cooked. All right, and Ashby's going to help me out as I move around with my fancy camera phone. And I'm going to put it down now so we can go back to the other view. First thing I'd like to start talking about is Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth. Are you back to the start camera, or are you still on my phone?
Yep. No, I'm on your main one.
Okay. So I want to start off with Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was a bit of a sugar tooth. That woman liked her sweets so much so that all the later portraits of her, you can see her teeth are actually black. She has black teeth because they all rotted out of her head. And it became such a fashion that the courtiers, in the court would paint their teeth black to match her because they wanted it to become a fashionable statement rather than a flaw with their queen. So one of the reasons that her teeth rotted out so much is because pretty much everything she ate was laced with sugar. Put the timer for me. Thank you. Audrey here is going to be my assistant today, my daughter. So we're going to start off with one of Queen Elizabeth's favorite dishes, which was a chicken pie. It's a little different than the pies we make today. You would think a meat pie would, have carrots and turnips and potatoes. At that time period in Elizabethan era, potatoes were actually considered food for animals, not for people. Potatoes were, and the Irish. The Irish were also able to eat them. So it wasn't just the animals, but the Irish as well. Sweet potatoes were really in the fashion, which also, of course, helped with Elizabeth's. You okay over there? No, you can take that and put it in the sink. So we will start making Queen Elizabeth's pie. Queen Elizabeth's pie had a pie shell that was pre-baked in a big cast iron oven. So like this, you can see, you got my down shot. There we are. This is my pre-baked crust inside a cast iron pot. And what we're going to do is we are going to now make our filling. Our filling consists of, where is it? It is a 1/4 cup of raisins. I'm using golden raisins or sultanas because I want a little different color in my pie rather than the other fruits that are going to join our chicken. We also have a 1/4 cup of black currants. Black currants are another sweet raisin-like thing. They're just tinier. And we also have a 1/2 cup of pitted prunes. She really liked the dried fruit because refined sugar wasn't easy to come by. So everybody sweetened things with dried fruits and syrups. To this, we are going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of mace. Mace is an herb or a spice you don't hear a lot about, but this was in the era of the spice trade, the spice route into Asia. And what mace is the outer shell of a nutmeg nut. It's a very fine, it's kind of like you would see on the outside of a peanut, not the peanut shell, but that red skin that you would find inside the shell. Mace is basically that part of the nutmeg ground up. It smells and tastes a lot like nutmeg, but it's missing that bitterness. So we throw that into the pot as well. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon on top of all that. We put all of this away. Then we move to my favorite part. Where did the box of wine go?
Over here. Sorry.
Sorry, my wife stole my wine.
Of course, it's a box of wine. They have that in Shakespearean time.
When I'm cooking, but I need a nice dry white wine. So we go with a 1/2 cup of the Pinot Grigio. And we're going to stir this up a bit. Let that sit and marinate with this fruit. for just a little bit. I can show you what this all looks like.
Excuse me, may I ask a question?
You may.
I'm having texts and people are very interested in this. And some people are wondering why they can't click. They just have to click on the link. Is that correct, moderator?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will just reiterate that. Thank you.
So we're going to let this marinate in here a little bit, and we are going to add our chicken breast, or our chicken legs. This dish was originally written for the bird that was called a cockerel. The cockerel was a neutered rooster that was allowed to live for 2 years. So it became fat and it was really gamey. The reason I'm using the legs only is because I'm trying to get that gamier feel, that gamier taste. Breasts today for the chickens are so large and so flavorless that it's, oh my gosh, my camera work is terrible, isn't it? Sorry about that, people. Nope, I got it. I just needed to hold it with the other hand. So we're gonna rub that around, get those spices in there, and we're gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes, okay? Let's switch back to the other camera while I rinse my hands. Okay, in the magic world of cooking, that has been about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and arrange this into my pot on the pie crust that I've already baked at 425 for 10 minutes. We want to pre-bake that crust because we don't want it to become steamed once it's in the oven. So I'm going to lay in I have 8 chicken legs, and then I'm going to take all of that delicious fruit and liquid and arrange it on the top of the chicken. So this is very much not the coagulated pie that you would find in today's era where it would be very taut and jelly. It's going to be a much looser version of a pie. Let me put this here. And we will take you to a shot, the overhead. Why can't I figure this out? There we go. So that is our pie. And what we're going to do to start this all off is we're going to cover it with our lid. And for the next 45 minutes, we're going to cook that with the lid on. You take this to our oven, my dear. Thank you. While that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start our next dish, which is called a Banbury cake. It was often called a cate at the time. And you will hear that referenced in The Taming of the Shrew. Petruchio often talks to his lady love. He's not very nice to her, I will have to admit. It's not my favorite play. But he has a lovely speech where he calls her Kate, his dainty Kate. For all Kates are dainty, and therefore, Kate. And what they are basically little pastries. They're not really cakes as much as what we would call a pastry. This is very much like a mincemeat tart, but it's not a tart. It's going to be wrapped in puff pastry. So what I'm going to do is we're going to mix up the mixture that goes into the middle. Take a saucepan, and we're going to melt a 1/4 cup of butter. Boom, boom, in, and a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. We're going to melt those together. And then we're going to add, you okay over there? Did you burn your hand? I'm sorry. We're going to add a cup of currants. These are tiny, slightly sweeter than a raisin. I don't know how else to explain it. They're delicious. We're going to add that in as well to our mixture. And what it calls for in the recipe is candied orange peel. I'm not a big fan of candied orange peel. I don't think most people are in today's day and age. The bitterness is a little off kilter for our current taste. But what I did find at Costco recently were these. And they are candy tangerine wedges. They're really delicious. They're a little sweeter. They don't have the peel attached to them. But they have that zest of the tangerine, which gives it a little zing, which is kind of what you're looking for out of that peel anyway. So I'm going to substitute the candied orange peel for candied tangerine. It's a half cup candied tangerine. We're going to throw that in as well. We're going to stir that up until it's all melted. I think we'll survive with that one. And it's got to melt down. It should take about 5 minutes. I'm going to let my assistant stir on that for a little bit. And then, while that's melting down a little bit, we are going to get into our puff pastry. Now, our puff pastry is your standard puff pastry. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to take it and I'm going to roll it out till it's about twice its size when it comes out of the box. So it's almost the size of my cutting board right now. I'm going to roll it out a little bit more. And then I'm going to cut it into 9 pieces. So it's 2 cuts either direction. They should be nice and square. I tried this once before and I didn't make them big enough. So I'm going to try and make the puff pastry a little bit bigger this time. I'm going to take my knife. Let's see, I don't know if I can you take a shot of this at the same time, my dear? Thank you, if you can see that. And I'm going to cut it into squares. There we go. All right, and it seems like our filling is done.
No.
Yes, it is. It's right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about 1 tablespoon of filling, and we're going to put it in the middle of each of these squares. All right, and one of the things I learned with my previous iteration of this as well is that this filling is much better after it's sat for a little while. So we're rushing it a little bit right now, but it's going to work out just fine. So I'm going to put a little bit in each square. Make sure they're all about the same size.
Sorry, there's a boom in the shot.
Is your boom in the shot?
My hand.
He's not in the shot because I'm on the other screen.
Oh, okay, good.
All right, so we've got these all lined up. Trying to get the same amount of filling in each one. Now the key is these pastries are supposed to be oval. And one of the keys is here is you want to make these attach. I didn't bring my water. I need a little water. Need a little water to seal this puff pastry together. What you want to do is put a nice line of water on each end that you're going to put together. And you're going to roll it up and you're going to pinch it, okay? You're going to pinch it right at the top, make it a nice seam all the way across. And then you're going to fold these over just a little bit and flip it over so that you have a nice oval shape to your pastry, okay? I'm going to do that for each one of these. This is a big one. That one's way bigger than the other one, but it's still going to look nice. So we seem to have a running theme of currants. Currants were very big at the time. It's hard to find them nowadays. I had to go to 3 separate stores. It may have been a COVID thing. You know,
I think it was a post St. Patrick's Day thing.
Oh, that is very possible as well.
Yeah.
Soda bread. Those Irish once again getting in my way.
Pete, I had a question that I missed.
Okay.
425 for 10 minutes for the pie shell.
That is correct.
Okay.
You keep
And
the
then
oven
what is-
on at 425 as well, because that's the temperature you cook the whole thing on.
Oh, okay. And how long do you cook the whole thing?
We're going to cook, we're cooking it right now for 45 minutes. And then we're going to take the lid off and we're going to put a couple of tablespoons of sugar, brown sugar on the top. And let it sit for another 15 minutes with the lid off.
In the oven.
Yes, in the oven. So that it gets nice and brown on the top. Otherwise, it's just going to steam up.
Where's the Instant Pot?
I think we get the whole notion behind these. All right, so what we're going to do now is I've got a cookie sheet with a piece of parchment on it. We're going to put these on. We're going to lay them out so that they have a nice bit of room to grow. And then you take a knife. This is very important, I was told, by everything I've read. It is not just 1 or 2 cuts on the top of the cake. It is 3. You must have 3, otherwise it's not a Banbury tart or a Banbury cake. So you have to make 3 little cuts. Do you have my phone so I can show what that looks like?
I'll do it.
Okay. You make 3 little cuts
When she's ready. She hasn't switched yet. There you go.
on the top of each tart or cake, just to let it vent a little bit.
I gotta see here. I have a question.
Yeah, you have a question?
Do you know why there's 3?
I don't know why there's 3. I didn't have time to look it up.
Okay.
All right, so we have now our Banbury tarts. These are going to go in the oven at about 350 at 450 for 10 minutes. And it should be all it takes, between 10 and 12 minutes. The puff pastry cooks very quickly. Once we're about magically ready to pull this out, aren't we? Huh?
Pete, we have a comment that someone has a lot of currants this year. It looks like David has lots of currants to offer you if you need more.
Ooh, I would love some currants if you have them. I like them.
I wonder where we could go. We need to have a bakery or a bake-off.
A bake-off? A currant bake-off.
Wait, where is that gonna go?
Put that right here, Audrey. All right, and then we have now some space to be able to put our lovely tarts in at 450. Oh, I forgot the most important part. I'm sorry. I forgot the part where you put an egg wash and more sugar on, because we know that Elizabeth loved her sugar. She needs a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and put some egg wash over the top of each of our little cakes. Make sure they're nice and shiny. And then we're going to take a little dimmer of sugar. I always say that wrong. Maybe Melanie can help me out. But you sprinkle a little sugar on top of each one.
Did you put 3 cuts in each one?
I did, but there's 3 more that I just added to the pile that I haven't finished. There we go. 2. Thank you for catching me. All right, so these are all. Oh, didn't he put any coating
You
on?
missed one. Your assistant is pointing out your.
Yeah, she's good at catching my flaws. All right, so now we have sugar over all of it. We're going to put that into the oven for 10 minutes, set the timer. And off that goes. Now, I also had a 3rd dish that my friend Elizabeth loved as well. It came directly out of her cookbook. It is asparagus. They did eat a lot of vegetables in this time. Meat was a rarity. But for the rich, they got to do it all they wanted. However, they did eat a lot of vegetables. Can you go grab the asparagus for me, please? It's in the fridge right here. Where did my big saucepan go? There it is. Yes, that is the asparagus. Thank you. We are going to now make the sauce for the asparagus. Oranges were a giant highlight at the time. Settle oranges were the main ones that they had, which were rather tart, much like a blood orange today. So I'm going to use blood oranges as well. And we're going to make a nice orange sauce for our asparagus, which I've already grilled. So it's already nice and dark. I actually wanted to grill it because the sauce is so sweet. I wanted to add a little bitterness to it in order to counter all that sweetness. This meal has a lot of sugar in it. So I'm going to juice 3 blood oranges. Hope you can hear me over that. And we're going to put that into our saucepan, which is heating up. Almost ready. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to start us off, because fat is good. What are you doing over there?
She's not.
You're not careful. You are now.
She can do pie from his.
All right, then I'm going to pour some of this blood orange juice. It looks to be, it was 3 oranges. I'd say there's probably a full cup of juice in here. Put that right into the pan with those 2 tablespoons of butter. And then we are going to add Elizabeth's favorite food. Where's the brown sugar? Where'd it go? Somebody put away my brown sugar. So it'll be right out. Thank you, my dear. I'm not giant into measuring things at this time, so I usually just put my hands in, take a little bit of it, and sprinkle it until I feel that there's enough sugar in the sauce. That looks about right. There's never enough sugar, according to my doctor.
What type of juicer are you using, Pete?
What's that?
What type of juicer is that?
It was an Oster, I believe.
It's electric.
It's an electric juicer.
You show them the container.
Where's the container one? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, it's an Oster. It's nothing fancy. You get these pretty much anywhere.
It's not a Shakespeare Oster.
Did Shakespeare use that?
It's a Shakespearean electronic juicer.
The Elizabethan Oster.
And now, let's see, while this sauce cooks down, it's going to take a couple minutes. Let's see here. Oh, what's this? It looks like our chicken pie is ready. So we can go ahead and pull that out of the oven. It's been a very quick hour in the magic of television. Do not pick it up because it is very, very hot. So while our sauce, let me take the phone.
No, if you want to.
So while our sauce, that's a great shot.
Well, stand by. They're in charge of you, actually.
Yep.
There
So
we go.
our sauce is now bubbling up, going strong. I'm going to pan now over to our delightful chicken pie, which
It's so good.
doesn't that look good?
Bad idea during COVID.
Oh, that looks so yummy.
Does look good. Oh, I'm waiting to see what that crust tastes like on the bottom. I'm going to cut a piece now. I'm going to have my assistant hold the phone so that we can do this. Here we go.
I think we use Shakespearean songs in the middle.
I don't have any Shakespearean songs.
That's
Okay, so we get a nice piece of chicken. We get some of that crust. We get some of these currants and plums, or prunes, I should say. Let's see if we can cut a little piece. And have a couple of taste testers here. Oh, that looks good. It's done. Well, that doesn't want to come off.
You're just making everybody hungry, Pete.
I am. I'm thinking. All right, let's give that a shot. Who wants to try this?
You get to.
I get to try it first. Wow, it's really tender to start. That is way less sweet than I was imagining. I was actually thinking it was going to come off cloyingly sweet. But that prune added a really nice tang, and the currants don't seem to overpower it. I think if you add enough salt, which I did, it really adds to the ability for it to be more of a savory pie than a fully sweet pie. You want to try it? That knife doesn't need to be used anymore. Would you like some? Yeah. You are, my dear. All right. So we now have our chicken pie, which is done. We have our sauce. Looks to be just about done for our asparagus as well. We have about 3 minutes left. 7 minutes left on our pastry. Let's go ahead and the sauce is ready. Can I have you shoot me over here, Audrey? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pour the sauce. Can you get it on the asparagus? Can you see it? All right, here it comes. I'm going to go ahead and pour that sauce, that bloody red sauce. Wow, it looks just like it's right out of Macbeth, doesn't it? Pour that right onto the asparagus with blood orange sauce and some slivered almonds. I was hoping for some pine nuts, but then I discovered that they didn't really eat those in Elizabethan era, so I decided to go with the almonds. But you want to add a little crunch, something along those lines. You were doing it. One more dish while we wait for those lovely Banbury cates to come out of the oven. I also, there we go. Oh, you're shooting me. That's fun. I also decided to make one extra dish just for myself. I know at the time that pears were really big, and poached pears were often cooked. And I was walking through the store the other day, and I found this lovely jar of poached pears or cooked pears in syrup. And I decided to take them home, and I emptied out about half of the juice, the syrup, as you call it, and I added a lot of red wine and some cloves and a big piece of ginger, so that it soaked up overnight in this great jar that I'm going to use for something else. And these pears are absolutely delicious. I'm going to go ahead and make up a little whipped cream to go with our poached pear. So we're going to add in about half pint whipping cream. Get that going. Add just a touch of vanilla to that. There we go. And a little bit of powdered sugar. I don't like it too sweet. So we get a nice lift. Just about done. Oh, I love good whipping cream. It goes so fast. Awesome. I also took the liberty of removing some of the juice from the bottle and boiling it down to create a syrup that I am going to use at the base of my poached pear. Are we live from the top? There we are. So we have that, and I'm going to go ahead and pour some syrup right over the top. And then I'm going to add.
Oh, you can have a
Good
camera
size.
operator. It's okay.
Thank you.
It won't be shaky. There you go. Good job, Audrey. Just don't show our laundry pile, Audrey. Okay.
I'm going to add a nice dollop of whipped cream right on the side so that people have a lovely little creamy side element to their poached pear. Audrey wants to try this one. I can see already. Here you are. There's a spoon. Go ahead and use it on your poached pear. And our Banbury tart has about 3 or 4 more minutes.
No,
Oh, I got it.
So 3 or 4 more minutes. So we're going to talk about Shakespeare. Ooh, what does it taste like, Audrey?
Is it a good pear? All right. Is it cooked through? Good. It looks delicious. All right, let's go ahead and take out our pan of Banbury tarts. I'm going to switch off the phone view. Let's go ahead and pull these out.
I think Audrey likes the dessert. She's
Yeah.
enjoying that.
Not with the pear. We have the Banbury tarts, which I will also take a little bit of powdered sugar. Where'd my sifter go, Audrey?
Huh? No, right here. Oh, no.
All right, we're just gonna, there was a sifter here.
It was right there.
I don't know. I didn't touch it.
It was on top of the thing.
Imagine
I moved it.
sifting.
Found it. All right, so we take a little bit of powdered sugar, and we're gonna go ahead and dust the top of our Banbury tarts. Boom. And that is done. Let's take one more shot overhead. Our Banbury tarts. The 3 lines are a little buried by my sugar. I think I may have overdusted. Who wants to try these? Sabrina?
Yes.
Here you go.
Do I have to be? No, don't put me.
Too late, you're on camera.
I'll go this way. Hello. Hi. That's good. There we go.
What does it taste like?
Um,
Can you taste the tangerine?
I can.
I was a little worried it was going to get buried under all that goodness.
I love the pastry, but I'm all about pastry. I like it.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, I didn't know where the camera was. I kept looking that way.
So I rushed through everything. So, well, that's not too bad. It's 5:37. We were about ready to, we talked about having a question and answer session here at the end.
Yeah, let's do that.
Put together a very sweet meal.
I'm eating it. It's really good.
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead and turn that off. And pull those.
I have a question, Pete. This is not food related, but I'm sure there will be food related questions. How are you doing your rehearsals in the time of COVID?
Use the towel. We actually, we had our first rehearsal for Macbeth about 2 weeks ago. We had just got the cast together, and everybody had been, of course, in isolation for, it's gonna be, open that door. We might have a fire alarm here. Right there. There it goes. Use the towel, Audrey.
That is everything. That is awesome.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, and then the dog chimes in.
And the dog has to help in, yeah.
TV, Pete.
So we don't in isolation. All of our other shows had been ended or canceled, everything else that we had going on. So since we had nothing else to do, the entire cast of Macbeth decided we'd get together and just do a read through. So we Zoomed our read-through, and there's actually a recording of it someplace. I don't know if it's going to be available to the public, but there was some talk of that. First read-throughs tend to be a little rough, but this one was actually quite good. Everybody knew what they were doing and where we were going. The cast is incredible. I couldn't be more excited to work with. Everybody seems to be in just the right part. And that doesn't always happen when you do a show. Sometimes you're casting and you're just like, I'm going to stick that guy in there because I don't have anybody else. But in this one, really everybody kind of fell into exactly the part that they should be playing. I'm really excited for it. So hopefully we get to go up the weekend of July 8th, I believe. If not, we may push it back. If it doesn't go up this year, it will go up next year.
I think you do it on Zoom. Noel wants me to show the control room here. So this is my very messy
control room. I like that. It's a little better than my control room.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Where, I'm gonna stump you, Pete.
Okay.
Where can you apply any of these to these meals to Shakespeare?
The Banbury tarts are actually mentioned in a couple of plays. It's a very common delicacy of the time. Blood oranges were they were around at the time. The chicken dish itself is not mentioned, but the cockerel dishes, pies of that kind were mentioned. This pie is specific to Queen Elizabeth's kitchen. I don't believe it was common for everybody else to make them this way.
And what was the hardest part? Did you mess up on any of this before your cooking show debut this evening?
I would say yes, I did. I tried to make that syrup for the poached pear, and I burned it 2 times. So this is the 3rd effort to make the syrup, and apparently it's pretty good because my daughter is swimming in it over here at the moment.
Oh, I so want one of those pears.
I believe your husband bought a jar of them, but you're going to have to figure out how to soak them yourself.
You have them downstairs.
Oh,
He's
good to
right.
know.
So all I did was add red wine, 2 big chunks of ginger, fresh ginger, and about 5 cloves to the jar. And then I let it sit overnight, and they're fantastic.
Cool. I love poached pears. Have you ever wrapped them in pastry and then cooked them?
I have done that. That's really good. I think pears tend to not hold up as well as apples, but yes.
Oh, we have a question. Where did you buy the pears? And I actually know the answer to this.
At Costco, they are available. They're still there.
Yeah.
And
Nice
the jar is really cool.
Where did you buy them?
Costco.
Oscar.
This was only about $10. And this jar is beautiful. I'm going to end up using it for my new starter jar,
Beautiful.
for my sourdough starter.
It's one of the favorite dishes I ever had in Paris.
Oh, yes?
Yes. And I'm new to this program. I don't know you before, but I was looking for a director for the readers program, and so I just came on.
I think I just got an email from somebody who was talking to me about that. Susie Burdick?
Yes,
Yeah, she just sent me an email about it. I think she mentioned my name.
yes, she did, and that's why I got in touch with you now.
Awesome. I'd love to talk to you more about it.
Yes, I'm doing some things. It's my 5th career, and so I'm back into doing some acting and stuff and trying to get something going that helps.
You're doing some acting as well?
Yes, I have
Where do you
been.
work? Are you working with Island Theater?
And I'm actually working with the
With the Senior Center?
Big Fish in,
Oh, very cool.
yes, uh-huh.
You're like legit and stuff.
Oh, really legitimate, right? No, come on. Nothing's legitimate
You
anymore.
have
but
representation. That's good.
they do have a good reputation. They're great. They're fun.
I love Audrey's just eating like just sugar and whipped
Just come
cream.
back and ate a bunch of whipped cream out of it.
I didn't expect to see a cooking show, but I love it, and this is great. And I would like to get in touch with you, and maybe I'd like to get some help with putting this together for the senior center in Bainbridge.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to talk to you more about that.
Yes, this is fun. Absolutely. There's some advantages of just using Zoom and instead of just talking on the phone.
Yeah, I've done, the read-throughs have gone really well for us so far, especially if there's not a lot of people talking over other people. I've tried to do some improv games online, and it gets a little difficult because Zoom system jumps to the camera to whoever's talking. So whoever's loudest is the one who actually shows up. But the others can't.
You have to have a moderator. That's you got to have, because you can actually manually control all that. But then you have to have an
You have to have the moderator.
Yes.
We got a question.
Get into touch with you, and
If
I'd
you
love
were,
to, because I'm trying to put together a bunch of people from senior center who were readers, and we did some small little things, and so I thought it's a great thing to be doing now.
Yeah, we got lots of time.
Yes, unfortunately, or whatever, and so some good things can come out of it.
all right, we have another question from Marina. If you weren't cooking Shakespearean foods, what are your other favorite dishes to cook?
Oh, I'm a giant barbecue fan. I smoke a lot of meats. I love barbecuing. I also, I've taken on a couple of Chinese food dishes. I also make a good Thai curry. I'm a bit eclectic. I have a bunch of different things I like to do. But if I was to pick one thing I had to cook, I would be smoking ribs every week.
You should talk about your love affair with the Instapot.
With what?
With the
Oh, and
Instapot.
the Instapot is a great tool, especially for rice or potatoes. Make chili, sweet, or split pea soup. It's amazing. My daughter loves the split pea soup. It's her favorite.
Speaking of ribs, do you have a favorite type of rib or brand that you like to use?
Well, a brand of rib? Well, if I can, I always like to go local if I can. Try and find local butchers. And I usually love to work with local farmers as well who are raising their own. But the baby back is always my favorite. It's just got so much more meat to it than the Kansas City or the St. Louis style.
On sale now at Town and Country.
What's that?
I said on sale now at Town and Country.
I just saw that. I just picked up 3 racks at Costco though, so I'm gonna have to hold off on any more ribs.
We just ordered some from Heyday, just got them the other day, and we haven't tried them yet, but looking forward to seeing what they do. That'd be nice.
We did short ribs.
Short ribs.
Short ribs. Oh yeah, because so those are the short ribs is a different animal altogether. Those are awesome. I love to do those in a Dutch oven with a lot of wine. And I mean drinking the wine, not cooking with
it. We had another question. What is your vision for the theater education program? So what are you doing with that this year?
That has really been my passion for the past couple years. It's I spent 2 years really building it up. It was in a good spot when I got here, but I really felt like we'd moved up a couple of levels. We had the teen program was flying. This isolation thing has put a bit of a damper on it. We were the first theater company in the Pacific Northwest that I know of to shut down. So we got locked out of an entire class session for winter, and as of a couple days ago, we just canceled spring. We are looking to reopen this summer. We have two shows on the docket. The first one is called All Shook Up, and it's the All Elvis musical. That is for kids ages 8 to 14. The older kid show is another 50s related show that I'm not yet allowed to say the name of. But you put it on a wheel. If you know your 50s musicals from the 70s and 80s, it's actually a 50s musical, but it was produced as a movie in the late 70s. You might know what I'm talking about. I can't talk about it yet because we don't have the rights yet. So we're trying to do a whole 50s summer. And next year, I know that we're going to try and remount a musical production that we were trying to do this year. It was our Bainbridge to Broadway production, and it was our rock musical edition. We were so excited. The kids were going to get to sing Pinball Wizard and what are some of the other songs we were doing? Bohemian Rhapsody was our finale. We opened up with Rock and Roll High School. It was going to be so funny and so brilliant, and the kids were having such a good time. And literally 3 weeks before opening, we just had to shut it all down. So we're going to redo it. We're going to cast everybody back who was cast in it originally in their same parts. And we're probably going to have to replace a couple. But we're looking forward to rebuilding the program again, to getting back out there. It may take a little while with the distancing. I'm not sure how quick people are going to be to come out of their own isolation and work with large groups of people. And theater, as we all know, is a very communal exercise. It is not about separation. It's about getting close to people and talking to people right in their face. So it's going to be a while till we get back to where we were. But I do believe we can. And I think theater can be the way that we start it, you know, to teach that empathy, to teach that the new ways we're going to communicate.
Do you think you could do a theater class on Zoom?
I've already been doing a theater class on Zoom. Our teen lab has been rehearsing on Zoom for the past 4 weeks. We've been trying to continue to rehearse some one-act plays that we were working on. Those are not going to go up, but we're going to continue to work on them because we were having so much fun that we just kept at it. We've also been studying monologues and doing some scene study, reading plays out loud. We're about to do a whole acting for the camera session this spring with my friend Amanda Yeoman-Brook, who is teaching that class. So it's going to be a 4-week session, 10 kids working on all their camera skills, which obviously we're all getting a lot of experience with right now.
Any other questions?
I've got a lot of food to eat.
Had a lot, what?
I have a lot of food to eat.
You have a lot of food to eat. Well,
Yeah.
I think we might send someone over to pick some up.
It looks delicious.
Yeah. What if we make this a series, Pete? What are you going to cook for us next time?
Oh, I know there's a lot of custards. Custards are dangerous though, so I was a little nervous to start off with a custard. They've had both sweet and savory custard dishes that I'd like to try. There's a lot of potted meats that I want to look at as a possibility. One thing I did notice in this era is cloves were very big, and I started to do my research as to why cloves were such a big deal. Not only were they coming through the spice trade routes that were going on at the time, but they had a real preservation issue when it came to meat. You know, they kill the meat, they'd store the meat, and then the meat would go kind of bad. So cloves are a great spice if you're trying to cover up the taste of spoiled meat, is what I've discovered.
Oh, wow.
Because it kind of blends into that lovely tang that you get with a 5-day-old chicken that's been left out.
If you're going to do this as a regular show, though, you're going to need some sort of moniker like the Galloping Gourmet or something, you know.
I am. I need a good catchy phrase. So I'm looking forward to hearing all your guys' input on what that might be.
Pete's Eats.
Pete's Eats. I think Shakespeare chef. I like.
Good.
Oh,
That's good.
Shakespeare.
It's true. Okay, what I wanted to tell everyone. So today is Pete's birthday. He very graciously agreed to do this for all of us on his birthday. And so I thought it might be kind of fun if we all sang happy birthday to him now on the Zoom. So I'm going to unmute everybody. And we're going to sing, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pete. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Pete.
Happy birthday,
Thank you
Pete.
for organizing Ashby, Noel.
I hope you guys had fun.
There was behind the scenes happening. That was so much fun. And thank you.
We'll work out some of the camera issues as we go along.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll get in touch with you.
Yes,
Happy
please do.
birthday,
Thank you.
love
Thank you.
File all
I'll
complaints.
send you an
about the
email.
production staff.
Thank you and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Heard somebody called something out, file complaints, what?
Just, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good evening, everybody.
Thanks. We're not on.